Today's title is Division of Fractions. And if you look, we have three TEKS that we're dealing with today, 5.3L, 6.3A, and 6.3E. And we're going to be taking a look at these 6.1s a little bit later. So take a minute to pause the video and write these titles down in your table of contents and at the top of your page. Okay, so a little terminology that I want you to know before we start is this word right here, reciprocals. Two fractions whose product is 1 are reciprocals. Let's take a look at what that means. For example, 1/3 times 3 over 1 equals 3 over 3, which equals 1. 1 times 3 is 3, and 3 times 1 is 3, and so they equal 1. So two fractions whose product, so two fractions, when you multiply them together, their answer is 1 is a reciprocal. So you can see 1/3 is a reciprocal of 3 over 1. Dividing a fraction is the same as multiplying by its reciprocal. All right, so first let's just practice some reciprocals. So 1/5. You can write just a few of these down. You don't have to necessarily write all of them down. But 1/5. The reciprocal of 1/5 would be 5 over 1. 1/2. The reciprocal would be 2 over 1. Okay? Now I want you to pause the video while you think about what the reciprocals of these three are. Okay, let's take a look at a problem that we looked at yesterday when we were modeling division. Okay, so let's draw a picture first, and then we're going to solve this with numbers and a mathematical sentence. Mrs. Banks has a third of pot of coffee left, and she wants to share the coffee equally among 5 people. What fraction of the pot of coffee will each person receive? So we have the pot of coffee, and we have 1/3 left. So we're going to draw this into thirds, and this is going to represent our coffee, 1/3 of a pot. That's all she has. She doesn't have the whole pot. She just has a third of the pot. And then she wants to divide that equally among 5 people. So that means we've got to split this into 5, 2, 3, 4, 5. So our problem was 1/3 divided by 5. And we can see that our answer is going to be one of these little pieces, which would be 1/15. All right, so let's talk about how we would do this without a picture, without a model. All right, so when we divide fractions, like if we go back and look at our turkey here, dividing a fraction is the same as multiplying by its reciprocal. So dividing fractions is the same as multiplying by its reciprocal. Well, this is 5 wholes, and written as a fraction, I know it's 5 over 1. So my reciprocal of 5 over 1 is 1/5, 1 over 5. Now I have a multiplication problem. We learned a few days ago that we know when we multiply fractions, we multiply the numerators. 1 times 1 is 1. And the denominators, 3 times 5 is 15. And we can see we got the same answer when we modeled. So we will be multiplying by reciprocals when we divide fractions. Here's a little visual to help you remember. When dividing fractions, multiply by the reciprocal. And you guys all know what Kentucky Fried Chicken is, KFC, right? Okay, so in your journal, I want you to put this little visual in there. Now, I'm going to explain it to you. Keep it is for K, so keep it is for K. And we're going to keep this first number right here the same, so 4. And I can go ahead and write it as a fraction, 4 over 1. Then my F is flip it. Right here, 1/3. So we're going to flip the next one, and you can flip it. So we're going to flip this to its reciprocal. What's the reciprocal of 1 over 3? 3 over 1. Flip it. And then change it is the C. Change it. And what we're changing is our division sign. We want to change that to a multiplication sign. And then when we multiply, we get 12 over 1, which is the same as 12 wholes. So what I want you to do, pause the video, and I want you to put this KFC, you can put it right here, KFC, keep it, flip it, change it, and draw this visual right here. I want this in your journal. Okay, now that you have this in your journal, let's move on to another problem. I've got my little reminder up here, KFC. So I'm keeping my 7, and I'm going to write it as a fraction. I am flipping my 1/5, so I'm flipping it upside down, multiplying by the reciprocal, and I'm changing it, and I'm changing division to multiplication. And if I multiply straight across, I get 35 over 1, which gives me 35 wholes. So 7 wholes divided into fifths gives me 35 of those. And if I was to draw a picture to understand it, I would draw 7 wholes, 3, 5, 6, and I'll put another one out here. And if I was to divide these into fifths, 1, whoops, I got that one crooked. What that does is it gives me 35 pieces. I know there's 7 or 5 pieces here, and I have 7 groups of those, so it gives me 35 pieces. Okay, let's do another. 1/8 divided by 3. So I'm keeping the 1/8. I keep the 1/8. I flip the 3, and this is written as 3 over 1. So the reciprocal of that is 1/3. And I'm changing my division to a multiplication problem. (1/24). Okay? I would like for you to do both of these on your own, and they will not have the same answers. They are not the same problem. So do both of these on your own in your journal. Pause the video. In this problem, I have 8 wholes split into fourths. This one, I have 1/4 split into 8 pieces. So I'm going to get 2 completely different answers because these are completely different problems. Keep, flip, change, and then solve. (1/4) divided by 8. I keep. This is written as 8 over 1, so I flip and change. 32 wholes is a lot different than 1 over 32. Work this problem. When you divide a whole number by a unit fraction, how does your answer compare to the whole number? Okay, work this problem in your journal. Pause the video. And now answer that question. When you divide a whole number by a unit fraction, how does your answer, 15, compare to the whole number? It's greater, right? It's greater. Okay, so you have a assignment in your packet. It has a front. I think it's a front only. I don't have a, let me look. Yes, it is a front page only. So today what you need to do is make sure that you have your multiplication pages all done and the front of this division page completely done, either by the time you leave class or you complete it for homework.